Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
All right, we are here with Pat Murphy, the back-to-back manager of the year for the Milwaukee Brewers. This has been awesome to watch, being that, as a Boston guy, we just discussed that I am a huge Dustin Pedroia fan, so followed his college career. So got to my first introduction to you was way back when. Got to sit down with you in 2019 in the Brewers dugout. We did a lot of ASU talk. We did a lot of Brewers talk. So it's been really cool to watch your career unfold the way that it has. Like, do you ever take a second to kind of reflect and look back on the journey, or are you just thinking like, I got a job to do, like I got to get the Milwaukee Brewers to the World Series and win this thing, so I'm looking ahead?
Yeah, I mean, it's not very productive to spend too much time looking back. I don't think. It doesn't serve me. I don't like doing it. I've got a room in my house. I call it my dig me room. And you'd laugh because it's like an avalanche of just piles of papers and things, you know what I mean? And nobody can make any sense of it. It's not a bit organized. And I think that kind of represents, you're a work in progress. You're under construction. So why look back at phases of construction? And, I think we're better off just staying in the moment and not really getting involved in what's behind you, what you've done.
For the moments that you do have an opportunity to look back, can you pinpoint maybe some things, some lessons? Maybe they were hard lessons. Maybe they were lessons that came quickly and came swiftly that you were able to draw on once you started working your way into and through the major leagues, now the tip of the spear of a very competitive franchise, having earned the accolades that you have. Were there things that you take away from that moment in time to where we're at now?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you're constantly, it's like you as a pitcher, Dallas, like you couldn't, you can't stop learning, just being in the big leagues. You can't stop learning. So, yeah, I mean, the first thing that I tell everyone and that I think about, and I actually do, I'm intentional about it every morning. When I wake up, I think about my day for a second and I say, just remember, it's not about you, and I think that in coaching and in parenting, my two things that I do, I think that's important to kind of approach it. Now, of course, it's about us in terms of like, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to be good to ourselves. We got to first make sure we're okay before we can help other people be okay. I get that. But I like just the reference of it's not about you, because when it is too much about you, it's sticky. It doesn't work. It's ego, and I like to just delineate in my career. I got chances at a really young age to take on big responsibility in my mind. And I was very fortunate to be at great schools and be around great people. But I didn't really have anybody mentoring me, to teach me how to do this thing. And that's a hard way to go. I made a lot of mistakes. Even if you're winning, Dallas, you're not really good. Sure. I got a lot of credit at Notre Dame for being this coach that turned the program into a national power. And I got a lot of credit. And to be quite honest, I really wasn't anything close to an accomplished coach. And I was really rough around the edges. But what happens is you win so much, so then you think you're good, right? I mean, I must be good at this. We win all the time. Everybody's offering me these jobs and you're getting these accolades. But beware of that. That's what I tell young coaches. Beware of when you're winning a lot, because you might think you're good. And looking back now, I'm like, damn, I was borderline horseshit.
Well, I think there would be some pushback on that. And Murph, I know we kind of discussed some things that we might be talking about here. This just kind of came to my mind, and I think you are a wonderful sounding board for the question I'm about to ask, because you have competed against at the coaching level and at the collegiate level against other great coaches. There's a fellow by the name of Tony Vitello who is going to be making his way from the collegiate ranks, top tier at the University of Tennessee, and is now going to be managing the San Francisco Giants, who have big aspirations. He and Buster Posey are forming a relationship that they hope is forged and lasts for quite a long time. I'm not asking you to give advice to Tony, but based on what you have experienced, what do you think are some things that he might be able to benefit from, knowing thyself and knowing that you're smart enough to know what you don't know?
Yeah, well, I think he is. He's in a great position. I talked to him a little bit at the winter meetings. I think he's in a great spot. First of all, I don't know Buster Posey, and I don't know if you do or you guys do, but I know this, like competing against him and watching him play the game, I'm like, this dude gets it. You know what I mean? Like, this dude gets it. He's in an elite level. Now, I don't know what kind of, president of baseball operations he is or whatever, but he ain't stupid. You know what I mean? He knew what he was doing. This guy can connect with people. It seems to me he can connect with people. He's not afraid. There'll be some growing pains. Like when the big prospect comes into the big leagues, there's growing pains, but soon he will settle in. And the other thing is he's got a great organization. They have great players. I know some of them very, very well. And I know who they are. Chapman, I know who he is. Adames, I know who he is. That matters. I don't know the Bailey kid behind the dish, but if you're watching, man, you really respect him. The way he covets his craft.
Yes.
And the frontline guy, the sinker ball guy in the front with a good changeup, Webb or whatever his name is, that guy, he's real. So I think he's going to have such a great group, and I think they're excited about, talking to Chapman a little bit and Willie, like they're excited, to take on his voice and see the way he goes after it. I think it's going to be very successful.
Obviously, like you had years of coaching in between, going from the collegiate level to managing a major league baseball team.
I'm sorry. When I'm talking to Dallas, I don't want you to figure I was just responding to him. I apologize. I just felt like him and I were like, I like that dude, man. I watched him pitch. I like him, so I'm sorry.
I know
we have history too. I know we have longer history, but I was just like, I was answering the question right to Dallas. I'm sorry.
No, that's his question. I had it pulled up here. We were both gonna get into the Tony V like part of it because I think it's fascinating. Like I feel like Dallas having the perspective of playing collegiate baseball and Major League Baseball, like that's his realm there. But for you, like we've had conversations where you were, not managing, but coaching at the big league level. And we had the conversations about comparing it to college ball. But like, how valuable do you think the in-between time was for you?
Oh, yeah. For me, it was absolutely crucial. And, I didn't get picked by a guy like Buster Posey, to come and be part of this thing. And hey, we're going to support you, and we've got this, and we're going to, I didn't have that. I was, out there on an island saying, okay. And Counts came to me and said, hey, man, I've never coached before. Look, will you help me out? And I'm like, yeah. Well, little did Counts know he helped me way more than I helped him. And got lucky enough to get the job, and then we've been fortunate enough to just have the right guys that are aware and hungry, and we've been really good, and it's made me look good. But I wouldn't have been ready coming out of ASU, whatever year that was. I would have nowhere near been ready. Even if Buster Posey came to me and said, "Hey, Murph, I want you to do this," I would have said yes because I'm a knucklehead. But the truth is, I wasn't ready. I didn't know the big leagues. I didn't know the pace. I didn't know people asked me after my first week in the big leagues, they're like, hey man, what are the differences? I'm like, well, first thing is bat boys. Bat boys are tremendous.
They're moving.
In college, you got to kick them in the ass and make sure they go get the bat. Here, the bat boys are like unbelievable, like huge difference. But no, in reality, just the pace of the game, the the intensity of every decision out of the bullpen. Um, just the forethought that has to happen that you don't in college, who you're putting in the game. Like, hey, we run into problems with putting this kid in the game and he might be in there 3 innings, until it's time for somebody else, the next best guy. Yeah. And you got plenty of rest, there's so much more to it. There's so much to the psychology of how those players are feeling and your reactions and how you handle it. The difference between college and pro ball is it's enormous. But the exposure of it and the way it's dissected now, because all you guys are talking about the game so much and the game is growing and it's the talent level is incredible. I think it enables someone to get a better look at what it's really all about.
Yeah. I mean, again, like being a Boston guy, like Alex Cora was the bench coach for the Astros, then got the managing gig with the Red Sox. And I've just, heard having conversations with other managers, that came from bench coach first will explain that the relationship with the players is just different. But you going from bench coach to manager with the same team, and I've seen it, like I remember I think it was like during the COVID year in 2020, like Brock Holt FaceTimed me and like you're in with the players. Like it's like you're riding the bus with the players, like you're one of the guys. Like does your relationship with the players change going from bench coach to manager? Like I feel like it doesn't. Like just hearing even like Pedroia tell Murph stories from college, it's like you have like an innate ability to connect with your players. Do you lose that going from bench coach to manager?
No, I don't think. I think you just be yourself. I think it's overplayed. I think you have to just be authentic. In the manager role, you have to make critical decisions and have critical conversations. One might call them difficult, but if you're not ready to have critical conversations or to make decisions like that, then you're not cut out for it. If you're just going to be their buddy and just, as the bench coach, I wasn't trying to be their buddy. I can't help it if I like to mess around and I'm pretty funny, but it's like, I just don't, I haven't changed much. I don't know what the guys would say, and I don't. But if you're just authentic and you go in there with a job to do, and hopefully you seek to understand the player, you seek to understand that's your asset, the player, his mindset and how he feels about himself and how he takes the rubber or how he gets in the batter's box. That's the game. The game is about people. It's about people and where they're at mentally and how they compete, how they care about each other, how they understand what winning baseball is, how they understand what this next pitch means. And if you're doing it for the boys, you got a really good chance of taking it off yourself. And it's a fun way to compete. And I think that, your job as a manager is just to make sure they're in that mindset, respect them, seek to understand them, know where they're coming from. Different culture, different time in their career, different part of the country. Stuff going on in their life, and we're doing it for 6 months. So you better be authentic or they're going to smell you out.
Yeah, you get snuffed out real quick. When it comes to being in the position you're in, you get to see a lot of talent on the other side. You get to see a lot of the top premium talent coming through your own doors. And I want to touch on The Miz, because I want to know what it's like from your perspective to watch a dude like that roll in, take the league by storm. We're talking about a kid who made the All-Star team, and a lot of it has to do with just how exciting and how much of a draw he is. But beyond that, you get to see this individual operate. We're talking about a guy who's touching all levels almost in the same season to get to the big leagues, and he walks through the door. And I'm sure you have an idea of what you're getting, but when you start to see this unleashed, what's the first thing that you're thinking about? Is there a comparison drawn to somebody you've seen before? Is it just, let me sit back and, oh, damn, this is a lot of fun? Do you start to project for the future and what that could look like? Just take us through that introduction to The Miz.
Well, thanks. He's a great kid. He's a great human being. That's first and foremost. And we're all privileged to be part of that. Now, not an accomplished pitcher. He didn't make the All-Star team. He was picked for the All-Star team. And I'm not trying to diminish anything he did, but it was more for Major League Baseball and for fans. But he knows, and we've talked extensively about it. Like, you got picked, you were the lucky recipient of the golden buzzer or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't earn it, and you got to understand there's going to be some guys that felt like they earned it that don't get picked, and you got to deal with that wrath. It's not your fault, but you have to be able to put it in a spot and understand it. Then just watching him, he's just young. He's young, and he's an immature pitcher right now with lightning stuff. He needs to be refined. It's like a young racehorse. You send him out in a 4 furlong. I don't know if you follow horse racing, Dallas, but I used to way back when. I was forced to. My dad forced me to. Anyway, it's like a young horse going out and running 4 furlongs and putting up great times. You're like, wow, what potential. So I think that's what you see with Miz. But then he hits some bumps in the road, and there's nobody going to walk in as a big-time pitcher with big-time stuff and just dominate. Skeens has proven me wrong, I guess. But even Skeens, there's bumps in the road.
Sure. How do you, as a manager, handle the trade rumors around someone like Freddie Peralta? Like someone that's been in the organization since he was a teenager, and has excelled to, making all-star teams and being someone that can be at the front of a rotation of a team that's very, very good, a division champion, a best record in the league type team, to then have to enter an offseason where your name is all over the place in terms of trade rumors. And like, you being around the organization for as long as you have, it's no stranger to how the Brewers are run. Like, we've seen it with Hader, where, like there's opportunities to make the team better moving forward down the line. You're going to see stars out the door, but like, how do you as a manager like handle that when I'm sure you get asked about it a lot?
Yeah. First of all, Freddie is a human being. I've watched every pitch he's thrown in the big leagues, and been lucky enough to have been part of his career. He's an incredible human. To see his development is really tickles you. And like, you got to know how loved he is and how respectful he is to everyone. You can't find anybody that doesn't love Freddie Peralta. What he does in the Dominican for his people, what he does for others. He's an incredible human, and taking the ball the way he has, 36 times a year, 200 strikeouts. I don't know how many innings, but approaching 200 innings. He's a throwback. Great athlete, worker, everything you want. Now, understanding what we are going through, the business of baseball, the guy's going to make $150 million. So don't anybody shed too many tears for Freddie. Okay. He's a great human, and he's going to make over $150 million. So, but the Brewers doing their due diligence as a small market team, you're going to probably look at what you could get. Doesn't mean you're going to definitely trade him. But you're going to look at what you can get, because you're not going to be able to pay him that 150 or whatever number of million he's going to get the following year. So why not look into that? Freddie understands. He gets it. He's watched it. Hader, Corbin, keep going. Adames. All of it. I guess Adames we didn't, right? We played it out. Played it last year. But he's seen it. Devin Williams and the whole thing. So you're gonna see a possibility of him being traded. I don't worry about it. In that, this let me know, who's in the barn, and we'll try to do the best we can.
Merv, I want to ask you about the summertime last year, because there were, look, no mystery, rough start. You lose your first 4 games of the season. From there, you start to find your footing. But then the summer starts to come along, and you start kicking the dog piss out of absolutely everybody. I think there was an 8-game run. There was an 11-game run. There's a 14-game run. When you start to look back at how the team was able to evolve and how they started to grow, are there any points that you can sort of go back to, or that you can pinpoint that said, this is when we took off, or this is when this player started to take off? Because as well as I do, it's very difficult for a guy, just one individual to put the team on their back. Those guys are superstars. Those guys are Hall of Famers. So if you don't maybe have one of those guys, there's probably a time that you start to see the team come together. What do you make of that? Because the summertime, it got hot for the Brew Crew.
It was hot. I love that. Knocking the dog piss out of everybody. I'm going to use that.
That's all yours.
No, it was. There was a moment. I'm telling you, and I might have made this up, and now it's become, the story, and it might not have been the exact time, but we're in Pittsburgh. We're 500 maybe, and we're in Pittsburgh. It's drizzling rain. It's like game 4 of a 5-game series because of a rainout. Some crap. Anyways, we're down in the 8th, 5-2, or maybe it was 4-2. We're down in the 8th. I'm fuming. There's 73 people in the stands, and it's like one of those. It's like the COVID game. You know what I mean? Yeah. and 0-2 count to, I want to say, Durbin. 0-2 count with a man on second, 2 outs. Like 7 foul balls, double in the corner. I'm like, oh, okay. 4-3. Next hitter, Isaac Collins. At least a 12-pitch at bat, 2 strikes, flare double down the left field line. 4-4. Terrain, 2 strikes. Grind, double, 3 doubles in a row. We take the lead, and we didn't look back. And it was like that moment. That's what we're talking about, boys. That's what we're talking about. Every pitch is important. The inning ain't over till the inning's over. That feeling of, no, we're really here. We're present. And winning is our objective. Now, that sounds so basic, and everybody listens to it and say, no crap. But no, it's like it was in them. Like, we're not losing. We'll figure this out. And we didn't have the necessarily superstars. Now, we had guys like Yelich. We had guys like Contreras. They're really proud of being really good baseball players, and they do it over and over. But you couple that, and then you see Priester gets a chance. Nobody ever heard of this kid. Priester gets a chance, and Logan Henderson gets a chance, and some kid named Patrick. What's Patrick's first name? I don't even know. But anyway, Chad Patrick. You watch that kid, and he's just like, these kids are getting the chance for the first time. They're so hungry, and they're loving it. And nobody knows who they are. You can't get scouting reports on them because nobody knows them. That's the fun part. And I'm sitting there watching this thing, and I'm kind of giggling like, this is great. You know what I mean? This kid Durbin, he's like getting hit by a pitch every other time up and just running to first like he wanted to. You know what I mean? It's beautiful.
Well, that grinder mentality, right? And I know how much you appreciate a dog, and that's exactly what I think you're describing. Is that might have been the moment where you start to see the dog in your team come out. Is there somebody that you think fits that mold the most? Who's the one that is sort of creating that identity for the clubhouse?
Well, Sal Frelick is obviously, if you know him, he's got the it factor. We mentioned Pedroia. I don't know that anybody had it the way Dustin did. And I do. I feel so privileged to be part of his career. But he's still, to this day, if I called him right now, he'd pick up with some comment like, 2 managers of the year, show me something with 3. Yeah. 2 doesn't mean crap. Anybody can win 2. It's endless. We can't help each other. You know what I mean? It's like, I love it. But Sal has that it factor on the field. Now off the field, I crush him. I can't help it. It's like he's the most crushable guy that there is. He does. This is great. So after his first year in the league, he's they get in at noon these days. They get in at noon, and I'm the only one there, right? So they get in there at noon, me and the clubbies, and Sal's all cuddled up, comfortably doing crosswords. I'm like, Sal, you're a second-year player and you're doing crosswords? I said, bro, you need to be filling out applications for graduate school. You're only going to be in the league about another year and a half. You're not going to make any money. I said, you can't play. You're little. You're slow. What can you do? Anyway, sure as hell, we made. He's from Boston, so Brandeis University. I met a guy from there, and he hooked me up with the president of their business school, or the head of the dean of their business school, and he wrote a letter to Sal saying, "Look, you're 5'7", 165 pounds, but I hear you're great on the crosswords, And he wrote him this formal letter on Brandeis stationery." And invited him to be part of the master's program.
Oh, that is classic. I mean, that's what we're talking about when we talk about having a feel for the boys in the room, having a pulse on the clubhouse. It's stuff like that. And that's where I think that's where the players truly respect you, Murph. And I know you know this, but if you don't hear it, let us be the ones to tell you is how much that's appreciated. And especially from our perspective, being able to sit down with you and have that exchange and hear those stories, that matters. So it's not lost on us why you have the attention of the room and how you're able to motivate your guys, because that's just not something everybody else can do. That is something that is a true gift, in my opinion. And those are the things that separate you. And those are why, you and a guy like Stephen Vogt, both back-to-back two-time Manager of the Year award winners. There's a reason for that. And as much as Petey might tell you, show him something with 3, I think you're showing the boys in the room why there's 2 in a row.
Well, again, guys, there's so many managers way better than I am. It's embarrassing to get awards for managers. I think, we're offensive linemen. We open holes. Sometimes they run through them. Sometimes they don't. I had a bunch of hungry guys that were aware of winning baseball, and they ran through it. So it made me look good. But there's plenty of other managers that can do the same thing. So it's, I don't know. I can't put my arms around patting myself on the back for anything that I've done. But I'm enthusiastic about putting down 2025, 2024. And I'm really enthusiastic about looking ahead. Because, again, my dig me room is just full of boxes and just piles of stuff. So I'm not ready to open up the dig me room yet.
Oh,
do you have a dig me room, Dallas?
I'm sitting in it. Yeah, I've got the scorecard from my big league debut in Baltimore, where I shoved against Kevin Millar's Orioles, Miguel Tejada, first big league punch out. I've got the scorecard from my one good day at work that Mr. Joe Madden was so kind enough to send over and give me from his side. And I've got the rubber from my one good day at work. Wow. Yes, Murph, confirmed. I do like to keep an old, dirty, used rubber
around. Like high school, college stuff, or no?
Oh yeah. I've got that right there, my Beaver. That's my jersey from the American River College Beavers, Beaver Fever. Snatch it up. I've got my Texas Tech jersey just over to the side right there, big 5-0. And then that ugly mug right there is not mine, believe it or not. That's pitching coach Scott Emerson, who is near and dear to my heart. He gets to ride with me every day. So I've got that. I've got a ball signed by Nolan Ryan. I'm a huge Nolan Ryan guy. I had a little tiff with Alex Rodriguez. Maybe you've heard of him. And I didn't take too kindly to him running across the mound.
That was a Johnny Gomes. That's the Johnny Gomes reference right there. Maybe you've heard of me.
Maybe you've heard of him. But Nolan was kind enough to sign a ball. So I've got. I don't have a lot to dig about me, Murph. But you're not going to get the whole shovel all the way in. But I've got some dirt sprinkled around here.
Nice. You get in there and you just like soak it in. You're in your dig me room.
That's it, baby. That's it. This is where I'm at home.
Does your wife just hammer you about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Let me guess. You going to the office again? You going up to you're going to stare at yourself for 2 hours? Yeah. I get crushed. She lets it fly.
See, that's why I haven't put together the dig me room yet.
You don't want to get hammered.
Yeah. Let my kids put it together.
There you go.
Smart. You want a hot tub, Dallas?
Let's do it. All right, Murph. You're out there in Phoenix. It gets hot. But let's say you have the opportunity to jump into a hot tub time machine. This is a time machine that's going to take you back to any moment in baseball history. You get to witness it. You do not get to participate, but you get to be there and watch it unfold. Which moment in baseball history are you going to, and why?
Oh, wow. Wow. I think the Hank Aaron 714 was it 715?
Either
15.
or.
Yeah, either or.
714 tied at 715, broke it.
I think of that. I think of that. I was part of the greatest performance in baseball history last year, Game 4 of the NLCS, with Shohei hitting 3 homers and punching out 10. Yeah. I hate to say that I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it like I thought I would as a spectator. I think that the Hank Aaron thing, it stuck out to me, like the way the fans ran on the field and chased him around the bases, and stuff like that. I guess, I don't know, that might be a weak answer.
No.
I think somebody's 3,000 hit. Oh, the Cal Ripken game,
Yes.
Somebody's 3,000s, Pete Rose's 3,000s.
We might run out of time on this Zoom. Can we send you another link to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want to cut you short.
So I was going to ask, obviously Jackson Chourio has accomplished an enormous amount for somebody his age, puts him on a very short list with players in baseball history to accomplish what he's done, but obviously an enormous amount of room for growth as well. What do you see, looking forward to 2026? What do you see as the next step for Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, it's delicate. It's very delicate because this kid he's special. We see so many great players. We're so lucky to be around so much great talent. Guys that are huge, guys that, take those physical attributes and combine them with great baseball talent. This kid is like, he's got a special knack. Those hands work. So there isn't a pitch you can throw by him unless it's educated, Velo's not going to bug him. He's got this supreme confidence that he doesn't walk around with. You wouldn't know it, but he's still very, very young. So there's some fragility to him. Is that a word, fragility?
Yeah.
Yep. That checks.
Okay. I don't think I've ever used it. There's some fragility to him. He's not, his strike ball is not, everybody knows that he's swinging, slow did Vlad Sr. And, he's not ready to be put in that class, but he's a really talented kid and he's a great person, which makes it really exciting to be around and watch his career because he is such a great dude. He cares about others. He's just a loving kid. But he sees himself in those big situations and they don't spook him. A great story, Chourio. I'll tell you all you need to know. So he goes to AAA this year. He has his first injury of his career. He has the hamstring. It spooks the hell out of him because it pops and he thinks he's ready to play the next day. And they tell him, hey, man, it's going to be 4 weeks. Like, what? But it's still, he's spooked. Then he realizes I can't do anything on this thing. I can't run. Long story, goes to AAA. Opens up in AAA, 0 for 18 with 13 punch-outs. Check it out. 0 for 18, 13 punch-outs. And the front office comes to me. They're like, hey, Chourio can come off the IL. What do you think? And he's 0 for 18 with 13 punch. I'm like, he's ready. They're like, what? He hasn't got a hit yet. He's not even close. I'm like, you got to know the kid. So sure enough, he comes to the big leagues. We go to Toronto. First game, Toronto. Bieber's pitching. First pitch he sees from Bieber, 405. You know what I mean? Robbed of a home run.
Oh.
So he kind of smiles. But again, and before the game, for whatever reason, I addressed the group about something, not like a team meeting, but there was something that the group had to be addressed about. Maybe there was somebody there from the Players Association, something. And I said to him, "Oh, and Chourio, welcome back. Great stint in AAA." And everybody laughed. You know what I mean? And then I'm thinking, boy, I hope it doesn't continue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure enough, first pitch. I mean, he's 21 years old.
Yeah.
First pitch, 405. Next pitch, not next at bat, next pitch, 410 homer. A double later in the game, just like, hey, look, I needed to be in the big leagues. AAA is not me,
Yeah.
So you know what you have there.
Love that.
And he smiles. He's got a great way about him. So sky's the limit. I think he's got to learn about the weight room. He's got to learn about his body and the wear and tear. And, he'll overtrain. So he'll take 300 swings a day sometimes, and those are the things you worry about. But
Sure.
He was raised right. So hats off to mom and dad or whoever else was in the mix there, because he's a great human.
Obviously, every clubhouse is different, but what is your secret sauce, special ingredients of how chemistry and culture is created? Is it obviously winning is a big piece of that, no doubt. You win, you have fun, everyone's having fun, everyone's having a good time, that creates good culture. Right. But what is the mix of the manager's input and rah-rah speeches and motivational words versus the energy that the young guys bring and the wisdom that the veteran players, what is the secret sauce?
Yeah, I think it's think back in your life, Jared, to all the good times you had with the boys, right? You can't recreate it the next day. How come? How come you can't go, hey, guys, remember the last time we took our trip to Vegas? It was this good, and you try to recreate it. You can't. Why? Because it's about authentic moments. It's about being there for the right reasons. It's about having the standards that you set for yourself and the expectations that you have. It's about all that being, pretty similar for guys. You know what I mean? The standards and the expectations and what they hold themselves to. And even though they're from different walks of life, I think that's what players make the culture. Managers don't make the culture. I don't think. Maybe we have something to do with it. I don't know. I haven't thought about that much. I don't talk about culture. I don't talk about tradition. Those are two things that are just happen. Right. And if you're forcing yourself to make it happen, it's like a relationship. If you're forcing yourself and you go out and date with someone and that person, all they do is tell you all the great things they've ever done in life. And, it stacks up perfectly and what their priorities are and what they're going to do. And you're just like, okay, uncle,
Yeah.
I think that culture and tradition are the same way. Tradition's for other people to talk about. Why should I'm a member of the 2026 Brewers? And I got nothing to do with what happened in 2025. If I was part of it, yeah, it's a good memory. But I'm not building on tradition. That's not my job. My job is to play well today. And whatever happens at the end of this, if you want to call it tradition, you want to call it the greatest era in Brewer history, it is. The last 2 years, greatest 2 years back to back in Brewer history. If you want to emphasize those things, that's for other people. That's for fans. That's for people that follow it and need to write about it or talk about it. Us, we just need to come and have a good time today, man. Let's make today great, and let's do it all we can. Let's see what our priorities are today and have a great day. I try not to get in there too much. That's their space. That locker room is theirs. When we once a month we have a "What do you got" meeting, and I call it we're on a bus together. And this is ground level stuff. And what do you got, guys? What do we got? What's going on? And some of those meetings turn into pretty good discussions. Some of it's just getting on Sal, because I always have a backup. If the discussion doesn't start real good, I always just crush Sal. We show videos of Sal unnecessary dives or whatever, And but we just have discussions, and you look to have your leaders or your veterans or your guys with at the forefront for them to speak up when they can. You ask questions. What do we got? Here we are together on the bus. What do we got? Are we moving in the right direction? Are we upholding things? I also have a leadership council that I do. I have like 8 or 9 guys in the room. We sit in the room, and the rule is you can't talk about anybody else that's not in the room. We can only talk about each other. What do we got? I'm not going to tell you what we're going to talk about, but what we're not going to talk about is the rookie who's, messing up, or, too much in the media eye, or, worried about the wrong stuff. We're not going to talk about that. If the room is right, if the 8 or 9 guys in the room are on the right page and they're thinking right and they're in a good headspace with each other, then all those other guys will fall into place, and we'll be able to, withstand any of their immaturity or nonsense or whatever it is. So that's kind of how I do it. I don't know if it's some secret sauce, or that's for sure. But just allowing them to speak and feel like they have a place there, and feel like they have a voice, feel like they're important to us. They have a key role. Everybody there, and yeah, and we just have a discussion. Sometimes it gets serious. Sometimes it gets, contested a little bit. I love that.
Yeah.
That's critical.
Yeah.
But there's not really like motivational stuff, I don't think.
When you this is the last thing I got, because you talked about, how good things have been over the last couple of years. And I think it could be perceived as a softball or an easy question, but I think there's some substance to it when you think about it. In terms of the brand of baseball that you guys have put forth over these last couple of years, we're talking about a team who won more games than anybody. What does this team have to continue to do, or what is there left to be done in terms of the brand of ball that you're playing to take you to the next level? Because nobody's ever okay with where they're at or where they finished last year. I mean, very few are. So what needs to happen? What do you want to see happen from the group to continue on the run that you're on and take yourselves to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the key, Dallas, and you start thinking about spring training and how you're going to present it, but the key is that, are you still willing to have your mindset be first on the team, and what's best for winning tonight? What is best? What can I do? Can I be in the correct mindset, or am I going to start to talk about the fruits of success? So I've had success. So I'm 2 years in, I'm 3 years in. Oh, now arbitration. What am I going to make? Oh, I saw so-and-so's contract and he got 13.5. Can I get 13.5? I talked to my agent yesterday and we're, whoa. You're on the bus now. Okay. We don't talk about that shit. Now here it is. That'll take care of itself. What we need to talk about is, am I going to be in the mindset and in the place where we're ready to win tonight? We're going to play the type of game. I'm going to take strikes. I'm going to hit strikes and take balls. I'm going to go back to what makes me a good player. I'm going to have that awareness, I'm going to be hyper vigilant about winning baseball and the type of player I am, that why I make sense to be playing every day, or to be pitching every third day or every fifth day, and then or be coming in every second or third day. Can I keep myself in that mode of understanding why I fit, why I'm a big leaguer, why the Brewers win because I do these things? It's when you try the disease of more. You try to do more. You try to do, you try to be, more than what you are. Solidifying and maintaining the consistency of who you are, really difficult. Really difficult. Taking care of your health better. Little adjustments. Understanding the weight room. Understanding how it fits in your game. I don't do that. Well, no. The statement is, I didn't do that, but now I'm understanding why I need to do it. Are you open to growth? Are you open to, and it doesn't growth go from 12 homers to 25 homers? It doesn't always translate that way. That might not be in the cards, but am I open to growth about, preparing myself to play every day and preparing myself to be a winning player? Yeah, that's I think that's the message, and not, okay, guys, we're going to take the next step. We're going to do that. Well, that's those kind of goals. Everybody knows, like that's our goal, right? We get that, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on being in the now. How can I fight for the focus of being in the now? When you were on the mound, Dallas, and things are just rolling. I don't know about your no hitter. Like I never heard about the story, and I'd love to actually. But like there was a moment you were just like flowing. You know what I mean? It was just happening. You weren't thinking. You know, um, you were just rolling. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So how do we get there? You know, you certainly weren't thinking about your contract. You certainly weren't thinking about,
No.
God, I just need 2 more strikeouts to be 5th all time in Brewer history. You know what I mean? You weren't thinking about that. Um, you were in the right spot. You were free. You were competing with freedom, and you were just flowing. And now, how do we get there? It's a fight. It's a mental fight every day because something's going on. The GM said something to you. The manager's hitting you 7th. You used to hit 5th. Just there's something that can mess you up, but you just can't give it consent. You can't give it consent to mess you up. You got to be able to go there and be that winning player, exude that however you have to, whether you're quiet or whether you're Dustin Pedroia. Like, how do you exude that? How do you keep yourself there? There's going to be adversity. What are we going to do about it? There's going to be other teams loading up. We're watching it right in front of our eyes. Other teams loading up, making all these trades and doing all these things. Like you're like, yeah, this is us. I think it comes down to the people. I really do. You'll have a hard time convincing me that the next phase of Major League Baseball is not mental health. Like that, the strength of their and the consistency of their mindset means everything.
Well, I can tell you right now, Murph, you got me ready to go strap on the cleats, get the fucking L screen out,
you got anything left?
And tell you that I'm ready to throw. I can try to go get you an out, Murph. I don't know how it's going to go, but I could try. I am more than fucking willing right now to go and try to get that done. I don't know how you listen to this and aren't ready to just run through an absolute cement wall.
Do you have a 2-seamer still?
Book it. Sure do. I can get a little run on it.
So you go 2-seam slider and they give you 5.5. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're just consistent 2-seam slider, 2-seamer in off, 2-seamer plate, slider off. You're good. You got a job.
I'll get to work.
He's not joking, Murph. Like he's gonna get in the backyard like right after we're done doing this.
I like it.
In fact, that's happening. I got goals to throw BP this spring, so that's
nice.
That's coming. That's coming.
Nice.
Yeah. That's Pat Murphy, the back-to-back manager of the year for the Milwaukee Brewers. Murph, thank you so much for taking the time. This was awesome as always.
Yeah, I love talking to you guys. It's fun. So thanks
we'll
for
do it again.
We appreciate you, sir.
Hey, has anybody watched this podcast?
No, just our family and friends.
Give me the numbers, Jim. Go ahead. You're dying to give me the numbers.
I mean, it depends. It depends on the time. We were doing streams during the postseason that hit like 150,000 viewers.
No, we said Vassallo told me. I said, "What kind of podcast is this? Baseball is dead." And he's like, I said, "What kind of questions? Who?" And then he told me who's doing it. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, I get it. This can be kind of fun. Yeah. This can be kind of fun. And then I said, he goes, Murph, it's like the number one podcast in sport right now.
Yeah.
Like,
he knows,
Mike.
He knows because in that trip in 2019, we applied for press passes and we got denied because it was like I think it was the last homestand of the season. So they were like, we're not doing media. It's the last homestand. So I had to like announce on here that I was like, hey, that trip to Milwaukee, I've been really looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to happen. It sucks. It's unfortunate. And then the Brewers tweeted the lineup card, and all the replies were like, why the fuck are you credentialing these guys? Like, they love the Brew Crew. Like, we want them here. So then I got a call from Mike, and he was like, all right, my bad. Like, how do we figure this out? Like, if you guys still want to come, we'll make it happen. I was like, I'll get on the next flight. I was like, there's no animosity, no bad blood. Like, I get it if there's no room, but like, yeah, like we want to be there. So we ended up making it happen. And I got to interview you, Uecker impromptu. It was unbelievable. Like, Yelly came up to me and he was like, you ever interview Ueck before? And I was like, no. He's like, do you want to? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, go up to Ueck. He's like, hey, you ever do a podcast before? He's like, no. What is it? He's like, oh, we just got the mic set up over here. He's like, when can you do it? He's like, right now. Like, all right. So we just walk over. We talked more wrestling than we did baseball, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a special moment, man. Keep that. That's
no doubt.
Yeah. Murph, did you ever get to go up to the booth with him in his booth? It is Jared J. Like, it is. But this is when you know you are the man. Is everything that they have offered in the lunchroom, like in the press box lunchroom.
Right.
He has times 10 all on a platter, just set up in the back of his booth, like all for himself. Yeah. Everything fired up, ready to go. He had a guy in his booth making omelets. They got one dude in the entire cafeteria making omelets for everybody in there. They had a separate dude in Ueck's booth pumping out omelets for Ueck. Like it was as big league as it gets, man.
I love that.
Living it, guys, every day. Getting to do a show with him every day before the game. We'd do the show in 7 minutes, the pregame show, and we'd talk for a half hour. And I can't even tell you, if I keep talking about it, it gets me choked up just thinking about what we talked about, He went through a lot of pain his last year, and he did it with such grace and such dignity. And no one knew. Very few people knew he had, but he had beaten cancer so many times. He beat pancreatic cancer, he's two open heart surgeries, prostate cancer, testicular cancer. Obviously became a diabetic after the pancreatic. But like what this guy endured, lost 2 of his children. Just know the pain and then the joy he brought every day to people. It was incredible. New player on the roster, in the locker room. He'd walk up to him. He'd already know about him, and it wasn't like it was very authentic. He just walk up to him. Hey, man, Isaac, great to meet you. Yeah, you're from Colorado, or you're from Minnesota. You're a high school football player. I heard that. Tell me about that. My good friend is, and Isaac Collins is like, oh my God, that's a Hall of Famer, and he really knows me. And then the next day, he'd follow up with it. Hey, I talked to my buddy about, and you're like, wow, this guy really cares about it. And he was at home in that clubhouse. That was his life. So to watch it, Yelly will tell you about it better than anyone. He has a great way of talking about it. I mean, Yelly was really moved in 2024 after the last game, Alonso's homer. We sat up till like 4 a.m, and it was more, not even talking about our defeat. It wasn't disappointment of our defeat. It was more, we knew this was Ueck's last game. And it was emotional. Yeah. Yeah.
An all-time great man. Yeah. Thanks, Murph.
Thanks. Awesome.
You're the best, Murph.
All right. Great talking to you guys. Nice meeting you.
Hey, likewise, sir. Thank you very much.
You got it.